It's time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. Mild and tranquil conditions exist for most of the country through today. A system continues to track along the northern Gulf of Mexico with wet conditions across the central Gulf Coast states, with an increased threat of heavy rainfall for southern Florida. Another storm near California is going to bring in waves of moisture, with rain and mountain snow expected. Wind and snow continue across Alaska. Closer to home, sunshine today, clouds into the weekend. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. Yesterday morning, the Otero County Board of Commissioners had a special meeting. Only 2 items on the agenda.
I make a motion to certify the canvass of the 2023 regular local election.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
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 And the other item?
We, the undersigned commissioners of the city of Alamogordo and Otero County, request the governor's office take action on the issue of pre-trial detention by supporting statutory changes and constitutional amendments in honor of fallen officer Anthony Ferguson. Thank you for your consideration of our request and for your willingness to work to protect New Mexico citizens and stand by law enforcement agencies across the state. Do you agree with that?
I'll make a motion to sign the letter.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So the county agrees. Now we're off to the city meeting to see what that body determined. Only 2 items on the city meeting agenda.
Consider and act upon Resolution 2023-53 requesting written approval from the Local Government Division of the Department of Finance and Administration for revised budget numbers.
Evelyn Huff, Finance Director, then took the podium.
We are moving some of the Assistant City Manager salary expense to Economic Development, especially now that she will no longer be acting. She already spends a great deal of time doing Economic Development, and so we felt like this split was better. So moving it out of the general fund, portion of it out of the general fund and into the Economic Development Fund, along with just recalculating some stuff.
The item passed 7-0. Next,
Approve the Joint City Commission and County Commission letter to Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Stephanie Hernandez, acting city manager, said,
Ashley and I worked on it, put it together. We took some of our language from our resolutions. We took some of Representative Block's language, and we worked with RB and Pam, and everybody approved it on our end. They signed the letter already. The county did. They had a meeting, I think, this morning to certify the results, so they signed it, and then it's in front of you. So what you see in front of you is the same that the county signed.
The item passed 7-0. So Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham will get the letter. Dollars to Donuts says she simply throws it away. There's going to be a regular meeting for the Village of Tularosa tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Village Hall. You can view the meeting agenda by visiting villageoftularosa.com. The Alamo Senior Center is hosting a fundraiser now through Monday.
We're selling bread and cranberry relish. It is for Thanksgiving. You can place orders all the way up until Monday. Pickup will be on Wednesday of next week. For cranberry relish, it'll be a 1-quart bag for $8. For rolls, they will be 6 for $5 or 12 for $10.
Orders must be submitted no later than Monday at noon and must be paid for in advance. You can pick up your order on Wednesday the 22nd, 575-439-4150 for more information. Tularosa schools are selling yearbooks right now at cost. I spoke with Melanie Boussier.
So what we're doing is from now until December 20th, the yearbook staff is going to run a holiday special on both books, both the high school book and the K-8 book. The books can be purchased at cost, which is that $42.75. That's literally what Jostens is charging us to print the book, and that's without tax, but it has to be purchased in-house. So that's cash, check, or money order made out to Tularosa schools.
Books at $42.75 in full color and only available by contacting the school directly, not purchasing online. If you want some information, call 575-585-8866. And you can hear this interview in its entirety on the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel. The annual Christmas parade is scheduled for December 9th at 6 p.m.
The theme is going to be Cowboy Christmas, so
We're kind of looking for things like cowboy hats, a float with horses. We're actually really excited because the past couple of years the theme has been New Mexico based, and we love that. But we are excited to see what people come up with this year with the theme.
If you want to register, call 575-434-6770. Well, today is Wednesday, and that means we get our weekly report now from Love Inc. We go now to Susan Payne.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Susan with Love Inc. of Otero County. Just want to remind you that Love Inc., of course, is the administrator for PNM's Good Neighbor Fund. If you or someone you know needs help with that, get that appointment made. Give us a call, 575-439-5683. That fund will shut down for the year around the first part of December, so you want to be sure and get those appointments made so we can help you with your electric bill. Also, just a reminder that we do have a food pantry available. It is by appointment only, but we provide hamburger and baked goods and, of course, staple items as well. And that is also, like I said, by appointment. So give us a call if you are in need of that, especially with the holidays coming up. Love Inc. is gearing up. We are February 24th, save the date. We are, of course, going to have our fundraiser, Love Affair to Remember. We're excited about that, and we're making preparations for it. We want to give a big thank you to several of our local businesses and the Air Force Sergeants Association who have done food drives for us. We really appreciate that, particularly this time of year. Money is tight. We know that, so we want you to know that we appreciate the community support. And then finally, just a reminder that we are still doing the weekend backpack program for the kids, and we could really use some help with that. So if you are interested in knowing more about that or you'd like a list, please give us a call. Once again, it's 575-439-5683. That's our clearinghouse if you're in need. Or 575-439-4812 is our administrative offices. If you are interested in knowing more about Love Inc. and what we do, give us a call. We would love to have a talk with you. Until next week, Alamogordo, be blessed.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
AlamogordoTownNews.com is a locally owned website featuring local news matters from a local perspective that affects you, and we bring it to you directly. Plus, local sports, cultural arts, and events. Online, AlamogordoTownNews.com. Owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
New Mexico Children, Youth, and Families Department now faces a lawsuit stemming from a 2021 infant death. The death of 1-month-old Waylon Padilla was ruled a homicide by police during the investigation. This led to mother Kiera Milton facing a charge of child abuse resulting in death. The lawsuit claims that CYFD in Los Lunas should have known about Milton since she had 6 earlier reports to that department. That includes an allegation of physical abuse to one of her other children. Milton pled guilty to the charge in August of 2023 and will face sentencing on December 14th. The new lawsuit states CYFD and the State Behavioral Health Services should have known Padilla was at risk of harm. On November 8th, Milton called 911 and stated she was having persistent thoughts about physically harming her children. Law enforcement responded to her residence. Milton was transported to a hospital for psychiatric assessment. The lawsuit goes on to claim that CYFD was notified of suspected abuse by law enforcement, including a 48-hour hold request. CYFD did not place Padilla or his older sibling in any other care due to their father, St. Padilla, returning from work while Milton was being assessed. The lawsuit claims the behavioral health assessment done at Presbyterian Hospital found her to be a high risk for harm to others. It also says she was at imminent risk level for homicide. The hospital placed Milton on a 7-day hold before being transported to Central Desert, an inpatient psychiatric care facility and defendant in the lawsuit. After her release, Padilla continued to stay home from work for some days, but had to return to work on November 15th. The lawsuit states that Milton killed the infant while he was at work. Another violation being alleged against CYFD is it had a duty to ensure the children would be safe with adult guardians and living in a safe environment. After facing allegations in federal court, 75-year-old Tony Jake Jr. from Pine Hill has pled guilty to abusive sexual contact. Now he faces up to life in prison. Court records show that in 2022, an unnamed 12-year-old victim told her mother that she had been sexually assaulted during church services. The FBI investigated and found evidence that the girl had been with Tony Jake Jr. In a plea agreement, Jake admitted to touching the girl inappropriately. He has not yet been sentenced, but faces up to life in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. That's according to the Department of Justice. The state's effort to put a woman convicted of throwing her newborn baby into a dumpster back behind bars while she appeals the verdict was denied. Alexis Avila's attorneys are appealing her conviction and 16-year sentence for child abuse resulting in great bodily harm. A New Mexico appeals court allowed her to be released from prison during the process, which led to the state asking for a new hearing to lock her back up during the appeal. That motion was denied by the courts of appeal. Avila is still waiting for a date to make her appeal to the state Supreme Court. A Roswell man will remain behind bars after the New Mexico Supreme Court upheld his murder conviction. Luis Jimenez was attempting to appeal his conviction from 2022, claiming the court should not have allowed some photographs into the trial. Back in 2012, Jimenez and Joseph Barnhill were robbing a home when the family staying there pulled into the driveway. The family entered the home and saw the two men. One of the men then shot and killed the father of the family, Saul Sanchez. Although the crime happened back in 2012, the men were not charged until 2018. Jimenez was sentenced to life in prison in 2022 after being convicted of first-degree murder with aggravated battery on top of that. Jimenez says Barnhill shot the victim, but the jury convicted him as the shooter. In his appeal, Jimenez also claimed his partner's testimony should have been viewed with skepticism by the jury. The state Supreme Court says they found no error in his trial and denied the appeal. More than a year after the fire crews were able to contain the massive Calf Canyon Hermit's Peak fire, the National Weather Service is working to regrow what was lost. They began aerial seeding treatments earlier this month along the burn scar between Las Vegas and Mora. The goal is to cover more than 11,000 acres. Officials say seeding will help absorb rainfall and help keep water from running off, thus slowing erosion and make any flooding less severe. Maria Gilvari, a Las Vegas utilities director, spoke with KOB.
Any stabilization of the watershed is helpful for our treatment. We've been experiencing increased amounts of sediment coming downriver, and so any stabilization of the soil and of the watershed area will greatly improve our water quality and the ability for us to treat the water.
Crews will be using a combination of airplanes and helicopters to drop the mixture of native seeds. Locals are looking forward to the day that they can start to see growth. When's that going to be?
We're hoping over the next year or so that some of the seed will start to take effect.
A Forest Service spokesperson said they're hoping this process will only take 2 weeks, but that does depend on the weather. Sports and weather are next. You're listening to Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in New Mexico is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, they just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the New Mexico Activities Association and the New Mexico Athletic Directors Association.
There are 2 games for New Mexico football on Friday, Cleveland at Rio Rancho and Clovis at La Cueva. 7 games for New Mexico football on Saturday, Piedra Vista at Artesia, Eunice at Texaco, Silver at Lovington, New Mexico Military Institute at St. Mike's, Cobrey at Robertson, Bloomfield at Perdalis, Roswell at Deming. Your Crazy Radio spot on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for sunny skies, mostly cloudy tonight, mostly cloudy tomorrow. Your high today in the basin, 68, low tonight of 44, high tomorrow, 70 degrees. In Cloudcroft, mostly sunny today, mostly cloudy tonight, mostly cloudy tomorrow, winds gusting around 23 miles per hour. Your high today in Cloudcroft, 54, low tonight of 32, high tomorrow, 52 degrees. Local breaking news can be found on our website, alamogordotownnews.com, and learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting kalhradio.org. We've also launched the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel. and it features our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. Well, that concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.